Let's try that again.
I'm out of control. All right, hey zenkaikon attendees, how you guys doing this morning? Are you ready for the 2019 zenkaikon Voice Actor Panel? And welcome to the stage. Put your hands together, the host and MC of the Voice Actor Panel, the most sharp-dressed man on staff at zenkaikon. Give it up for Joe Corso!
I come to this con every year and I absolutely love seeing you guys. Can I get a big round of applause for zenkaikon? We got a great voice actor panel for today regarding a couple little house cleaning things. First off, this is a Q&A. We are going to have a Q&A microphone up front. I am going to ask that once we start the Q&A session that you do an orderly line over on the house left side of the house, and we're going to get you guys as many as we can during the Q&A. We're also going to be doing a little scene reading to kick things off with, but before that, let's welcome to the stage Monica, Michaela, and Austin!
You're welcome.
Alright guys, like I said, we're going to get things kicked off with a little scene reading. And this is from a classic movie starring Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise. A little movie called A Few Good Men. And I'll set the stage for a bit. So this is the height of the movie. There is the courtroom scene, and it's a very iconic line which you guys might remember. But we're going to get things started with. There is some suggestion we did for what type of character you guys want to do, but did you guys want to open? Monica, I think you wanted to open up.
Yeah, they gave me a character suggestion, but I thought it'd be cool to hear from you guys. Does anybody have, now don't all yell it out at once, does anybody have a preference on character voice?
We didn't hear Sue you.
This should be interesting.
Oh, I'm not taking suggestions. I'm gonna do riff. From Barney and Friends. This sounds like this is what it sounds like. So let's snap for some challenges.
I'm feeling a big My Hero vibe in general. Or not. So I guess we'll do that.
Awesome. You guys ready? Colonel, I have just one more question before I call Airman O'Malley and Airman Perez. If you gave an order that Santiago wasn't to be touched, and your orders are always followed, then why would he be in danger? Why would it be necessary to transfer him off the base? Nothing.
Private Santiago was a substandard Marine, silly. He was being transferred off the base because...
But that's not what you said. You said he was being transferred because he was in grave danger.
Yes, that's correct.
You said he was in grave danger. I said grave danger. You said...
Yeah, I recall it was.
I can have the court reporter read it back for you.
I know what I said, lady. I don't need it read back to me like a damn.
Then why the two orders? Colonel Ribbit? Why did you...
Sometimes men take matters into their own hands.
No, sir. You made it clear just a moment ago that your men never take matters into their own hands. Your men follow orders or people die. So Santiago shouldn't have been in any danger at all, should he have, Colonel?
You little bastard.
Your Honor, I have to ask for a recess.
I'd like an answer to the question, Judge.
The court will wait for answer. Is that also me?
It's a
If Kendrick told his men that Santiago wasn't to be touched, then why did he have to be transferred, Rivet? Colonel? Oh, that's me, yeah. Sorry. Kendrick ordered the code red, didn't he? Because that's what you told Kendrick to do.
Class 1A sucks! I mean, object!
Counsel. And when it went bad, you cut these guys loose.
Your Honor!
That'll be all, Counsel.
You had Markinson sign a phony transfer order.
Judge!
You doctored the lob.
Damn it! Kid Cappy!
I'll ask for the 4th time. You ordered...
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled to them.
You want answers?
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Ta-da!
Yay!
Who did not see you and Tom Cruise looking so well together?
I love the ribbon.
Ribbon.
All right, guys, we're going to get the Q&A started. So if you have a question, please come up and light over by Ashley here, and we'll get started.
You know, somehow I feel full from breakfast, but also hungry for more food at the same time. It's not a bad feeling.
You have fun, Dick. The breakfast of champions.
Man, I feel the sugar in this town. These maple donuts, stop it. You're hurting me. What? No. Faust nuts? Fast nuts. Faustus. What kind of deal am I making here?
Oh, wait, is that the fancy donut with the maple and the bacon on top? Yeah. No,
No.
Just that one?
No.
We have
Are
the
they
ones with
nuts?
the bacon and
Bacon and maple.
I've had maple bacon donuts before, but what I love about this one is it's most of the time it's like Bacon's type of situation, but this is just a full strip of bacon.
Tense.
Can we just admire what came out of your pockets? Like, Austin just walked up and dropped off like a Verizon store, like onto the table. It's really
I'm not good at keeping hold of cell phones, so I like to buy lots of cheap ones instead of one good one.
Are these all burners? What kind of operation are you running on the
This
side?
one currently has an internet connection. This one is just being used for Stardew Valley at the moment.
Oh, that's a dumb phone and I like it.
I love it. Have you seen these new flip phones?
New flip phones, Nick.
Oh, they're coming out, and we figured out how to do a flip screen. What we've been asking for years. The screen folds.
Ah,
Well, we, like China and Korea, right?
Yeah. We as a human species.
Oh, there it is. Oh.
But if there's ever been like a, but no, see this one, no. There's another one that folds that actually folds open to the screen.
I think
It's alien technology.
Yeah.
Do you remember what they said happened Yes. Yeah, that we didn't invent that. Aliens gave that to us.
I think I still have like razor PTSD. I don't think I could like. I still have memories of my little pink razor, and I don't know if I could ever.
You were cool. You had a razor?
Dude.
I had one of those like Motorola bricks. It was like powder blue Motorola bricks.
Amazing.
It was just a single, no flip involved.
I remember driving over my car on purpose one time to prove a point.
Driving over it in your car? I thought you said driving over your car.
Did I say that?
Yes.
You know what I meant.
Yeah, that's what I had.
All right, we should probably answer some questions.
Oh yeah.
Hi. Hello.
Mom, I'm a huge fan of yours since the war.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You've been in it for the long haul.
I have.
I love it.
Since I was wee bitty watching Sailor Moon, I've been an anime minority.
Oh, well, thank you for watching.
You're welcome. My question is about a character that's one of your favorite roles from Princess Nine, Izumi Himuro.
Yes! Has anybody seen Princess Nine? Oh, there's like 5 of you. Good, because it's out of print.
Seriously?
Oh, awesome. It's out of print, but it's such a good
show.
Yes, it is. My question is, at episode 17, where Yo is on that hospital bed, she's about dying, and Izumi goes into that hospital.
And physically, there are certain sounds I might never make again.
Aww.
The PSA for take care of your voices.
Yeah, self-care, man.
No, that's the theme of this weekend for me.
Probably for either Grand Theft Auto 5 or for Krampus. I did like ADR for this demented cherub, and it was really, it was like, okay, now pretend like you are, there's like footage of like this like treetop angel going like to like Tony Collette's ear, and like a lot of things that I don't do all the time in my daily life, you know, so that was challenging. But yeah, Grand Theft Auto 5, it's a lot of, video games are so vocally taxing, you're just screaming the whole time, and I mean, it was like every line I was just screaming about my boss's car being stolen and how yoga doesn't work for me and I can't calm down, and I'm like, but you know, you get so jazzed up, like I call my boyfriend after, and I remember being like, I love you! How's your day? Like, just like screaming. You're still in it. It takes so long to come back. Actually, in a lot of the, do you guys have that weird, like, tar?
Ninja paper quoi.
I can never remember.
Yeah, that. What is in that?
So it's a loquat, like extract. So this stuff we call it like go-go juice and all kinds. It's got all kinds of names at Funimation, but we keep it on stock. So what it is ninjampe pakwa, and it's this loquat syrup, but it's used in Asia to treat asthma, surprisingly. But what it does is that it coats your throat. It has just the tiniest little bit of menthol, so it's just enough, because if you use too much menthol, you can actually do more damage. But if you can make it into a tea, you can drink it straight. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it looks
There it is, but it is definitely worth it. It is a good investment.
If you really want to hurt yourself, I'll take ginger root and cut it up into cubes, skin it, and then I'll stick it inside the honey loquat syrup, and let it soak into the ginger like overnight, and then I'll take the ginger and chew on it during my session. That's how I got through the end of season 1 of Tokyo Ghoul, because it's an anti-inflammatory, so it's not necessarily making things better, but it will allow you to make that sound a little bit longer.
Dude, who are you?
Don't swallow it though. Like I'll have 2 cups. I'll be in the booth like this, like.
And just as a little side PSA, if anybody out there is a voice actor, make sure that you stay clear of chloroseptic. For those of you that don't know, that is really great for numbing your throat if you've got a sore throat, but if you're voice acting, it makes it so that you can't feel the pain that you are inflicting upon yourself, which can do like serious damage.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no chloroseptic.
I saw your story on Instagram, and I saw myself.
Me?
Yeah, you posted onto your story.
Oh, yeah.
My question is, what would be your favorite interaction between your characters? You know, whether it be like Kaneki and Amethyst, or Froppy and Death the Kid. You know, what would be your favorite?
Between our characters? Oh.
Like, like me and one of your characters. No,
Well, we've never worked with, I've never worked with Michaela. But it sounds like you voice so many strong, empowered women, and I feel like Amethyst kind of fits into that category or learning suite. And so, I don't know, maybe we could go for a really cool hike, catch some vistas. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Characters.
And I would say I move from his not I'd love to go on that one.
Yeah.
He wants for not much. He's immortal, and somehow his rent is always paid for.
I will say with Austin, my favorite is the end of Tokyo, the first season of Tokyo Ghoul, because that last episode is intense, and I had so much fun getting to play like the puppet master behind Kaneki, and with Austin, and then Chris was Jason, Southern Jason, it was really intense.
I keep forgetting that's us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, your birthday. Yeah. That scene when we're in my mind talking about my mother is so real.
It's intense. That's some actors.
Yeah, that's one of those moments where you're like, all I gotta do is step out of the way.
Do you guys record independently? Animation?
Yeah, so it's really difficult for a lot of the newcomers, especially. Like, we get people that come from stage and they're brilliant on stage, but then they get to booth and they're like, wait, I have to do this by myself?
Yeah, we're doing.
Because stage, when you're in theater and stuff, or even like, in comedy or whatever, it's usually a group kind of thing where you work together as a team, but with ADR, it's just so costly to do it together, so that we do it individually, and that makes it challenging.
I had one experience this year, working at Senkai, directed by David Wall. They do a lot of things differently, but even they normally only record independently. Like that's how everybody does it. But because the show's called Teacher Ichime, and my character falls in love with David Mandrake's character, and like that's the whole. That's the story's about us falling in love. And some of the scenes were so intense that David decided to bring us in together, and we figured out how to do it, and all of the scenes is he and I in the booth together doing it. So it was awesome. Really awesome.
Thank you so much.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My question is for all three of you. What is the craziest thing a band has tried to make you sign or that you have signed for?
Some guy's arm. I was like, okay. It's your arm.
Yeah, that's an arm. I tried some faces one time at a con. I did, somehow it got in the air and then everybody wanted their face signed that whole weekend. Which is terrible because
It's toxic.
it just looks like you woke up from a party.
You were the first guy to fall asleep, and everyone else was drinking Mountain Dew. There's a lot of weird stuff, especially back in the day. Like, as crazy as you guys have gotten and the crowds have gotten bigger, the weird requests for signings have actually been limited. Thank you. But I did go to a convention in the UK back in like 2004, and there was this guy there that came through my autograph line. He was super drunk because the age of drinking there is 18, and this is at a university. Super drunk, and he came through my line. He's like, I don't like dogs, but I like you. Thank you, sir. And then he talked, and I was like, and he didn't ask me to sign anything, and he left. And his friends came back later. They're like, hey, we have a request, and we want to see if you'll do it. I'm like, okay, what's your request? So our friend that came up to you earlier is passed out drunk in the lawn, and we have these Sharpies. And I was like, say no more. So he was passed out in the grass. So the first thing I did was a giant Hello Kitty face on it. On his chest, and I wrote Dubs Rule. And then put a mom tattoo on his arm. And he was just passed out. He didn't know any of it. I didn't get to see when he woke up. And I've been to the UK several times since then, and I always tell the story, and I'm like, is he here? And he's never there, or he's too afraid to stand up. So that's the drunk man is the weirdest thing I've ever signed.
Hello. My first question is two questions. My first question is for Austin. What's 1,000 minus 7?
Every time, dude. 993. Normally, when I get asked that question, I respond in tone, but unfortunately, I can't. Because the doctor says if I keep doing that, I will lose my career. But the answer is for me to scream in pain. In case anybody hasn't seen the show, the answer is I'm being tortured. So at the end of this season of this show, my character gets kidnapped and tortured, and he has the gender of ability. So for days, his fingers and toes are getting cut off over and over and over.
Okay, I have a request. Can you ask that question again? And can you do it, but we'll put you on mute? Yeah, I want to see it.
Boom, done. All right.
What's 1,000 minus 7?
You're unreal, man.
To do it exactly like that, because this really is a technique that I use, and people don't believe me until they see it happen in the movie. When I'm running out of breath, sometimes I'll squeeze my butt to get that last.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
And I don't do it on purpose. I just find that it happens.
You gluteus maximize. Who's doing the scream? You are brilliant. That's awesome. I just want to start mentioning the most random things. Whatever. Sure.
My question is, if you guys were voice acting, what would you be doing?
Can I answer first? Okay, I have this dream that if I were like a different version of me, I would be a post person, a post woman, in Hawaii. Just, you're outside, you're interacting with people, but like not too much. You get to see an occasional dog. That's it.
It's funny because as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, theater. Wait, that doesn't count as the answer. There's other jobs. Lately I've been telling myself that everything's okay, because if this whole thing doesn't work out, I'm just going to go to North Carolina and subsistence farm. And go to Asheville, and like you just have to be good at growing one thing, because all your friends are growing something else. And then you just, eat food and hang out.
You look the part.
That's what I'm going for, yeah.
I would be a hairstylist because I'm actually a licensed cosmetologist and I was a stylist. Yeah, I've cut Ian's hair, cut Mike McFarlane's hair. We call it Monty cut.
You look amazing these days too.
I go to Funimation and I cut a whole bunch of the dude's hair. They'll be like, hey, can I get a Monty cut? Yes, sir.
What about beard?
I can do beards. Yes, sir.
This is a great idea.
The beards? Like, could we have something?
I might have to get all Edward Scissorhands on him and see what I can do.
I'm your canvas.
Next convention, I'll have my scissors. I'll be like, anybody want to test it?
Hey guys,
Hey.
Pro here, Master Two quick questions. Number one, what would your quirk be? Like, what would your power be in the world of My Hero?
Just so you know, a quirk is like a superpower, but they're usually like weird superpowers. Like, for instance, my character has the abilities of a frog. So, like, it's not like your regular superhero powers, like, I can fly, which it's usually something like, I have a rubber band waist and I can bounce off a wall, etc.
And my character is very rude, and if he slaps you, he steals your power.
I know.
Yeah.
Pretty intense. I think I'd like to be able to, I love to travel. I hate airports. So I'd probably go with some kind of teleportation. But maybe like, because it's My Hero, it'd have to be a weird quirk. So maybe like every time I sneeze, I end up in a new place. Holy crap!
Rule 34. It already I'm sticking to this because I think this is good. I get asked what my superpower would be all the time, and I come up with a bunch of different answers. For a long time, it was like to manifest anything on the Food Network with my mind. But really, that's just learning to be a cook.
Cooking are two totally other things.
This is true. But like, so like, I love airports, but I actually have a huge social anxiety and fear of people and crowds. And mostly it's like, it causes a physical reaction pretty quickly. So if you see me walking through the hallway, I look like I'm freaking out. That's why. But I get sweaty so easily around other people, especially like in audition rooms. I can't go to audition rooms with a bunch of other nervous actors. Anyway, my superpower would be to regulate my body temperature like a normal human and just be at a comfortable temperature at all times. Like at all times, like in the center of the sun, still.
I guess we're on this airport theme, so I guess my quirk would be the power I would gain strength by eating airport sushi anywhere. But I feel like normally that makes people powerless. Yeah, for me that would. It was very brave. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I was just trying to think of the worst place to get sushi.
I mean, you could even one-up it and go with grocery stores. Oh, yeah. But like in LA, there are so many good Asian grocery stores with like pretty deep grocery store sushi. But yeah, on the reg, like, what's that? Gas station. Yeah. Now that's cool.
Vending machine sushi.
In Hawaii, where I'm going to be a post-mistress. I just had a visual of you in like the post outfit, but with like a tiara. Oh, look at that. Leaves fresh sushi and deli. Sounds like my people run it.
And then my second question is, do you guys find me appealing?
I thought you were going to be like, once you run, I didn't say, gotta go.
Hi. I have two questions for Monica. Yes. What was your experience with like working on Black Butler and like voicing Mayrin and working with J. Michael Palin
Well, there's Mayrin right over there. Hello, Mayrin, and I just have to point you out because you look adorable. My experience working with Black Butler was awesome. So when I found out we did auditions back then, which we don't get to do as often anymore because of Panelz and how fast we work. But when they told me, hey, the show's coming up and we'd like you to audition, I went and did my research and I kind of looked on the internet to see what I could find out about the characters. And I saw a little clip of Mayrin in Japanese, and I was done. I was like, that's who I want. I want that character. And they were like, but there's this little girl Lizzie, and there's this person. I'm like, I don't care. I want the maid. And so I auditioned for everything, but I think it was very clear like which one I was more into. And Colleen Clickenbeard actually cast Black Butler. And so I went in and I was like doing my thing and adding all the and she's like, oh my god, it's like this Audison character. I'm like, what is that, my research? But I had so much fun working on it, and it was one of those situations, Ian Sinclair took over as director, and he was super fun to work with, and we made some executive decisions that I'm still really proud of to this day, like her little accent change and things like that. But yeah, super, super fun show, and everybody in that show is just awesome and good people. Hello.
Hello. First of all, what about truck stop sushi?
Yeah, sign me up. More power.
Okay. Second of all, my question is for anybody who's done both. Do you find CGI characters harder to dub than hand-drawn characters?
Yes. There's a show called, it's one of the Appleseed.
Appleseed 13.
Thank you. And I played Dea in that, and that was incredibly difficult, but was really difficult because I was one of the script adapters for that show. And the thing about CGI is that because they can form consonants and vowels with the CGI, it's so hard as a script adapter to match the flaps, because not only are you just, you know, back in the day when it was hand-drawn, everything was just what I call om-nom flaps, which is ba 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 ba. Now you get like consonants and vowels and stuff like that, so I'd have to sit there and go, vowel, vowel, consonant, vowel, 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 consonant, vowel, and like, I had to like write it out in the code, and then write a line that would match that, and hope it timed out. It's so hard. And then as an actor, it's hard too, because you have to match those consonants and vowels. So yeah, CGI. I love it and I hate it.
I don't think I've ever done that.
But a lot of CGI.
But I do a ton of live action dubs, and that's yeah. But they kind of give up with that. There's nothing you can do. It's just a different route.
Barney was sort of like an om-nom live action scenario. Like the reason why Riff laughed a lot is because when the guys are running, like their jaws will flap, and then you have to cover for that. You know, fun fact. But yeah, great question. Thank you.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Have you ever had a line flub during your voice acting performance?
Yeah.
All the time. One of my favorites is on First Angel. We did some outtakes, and I played Jo, who's like this hardcore, like really low voice, like she's really tough and awesome. And her line was, "Wipe that smirk off your face." And in all seriousness, I delivered my line like this: "Wipe that smirk off your face." So I went from like this like badass chick voice to that is probably my favorite. Usually there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, I do a thing pretty regularly, like at least once a session where I'll flub a line, but I want to keep matching the flaps, so I'll just curse until it's over.
It usually fits really well. Like, curse words fit the flaps so well. Like, dude, if only we could just add like a two-syllable curse word to it.
That's why we're not allowed to use those words too often. They're too powerful, they're too visceral, and they're too many beautiful consonants and vowels.
Good question.
Hi, good morning. So I was wondering, what inspired the three of you to do voice acting?
I mean, for me, I got really lucky and I just got an audition and that was for Barney and Friends, and then I kind of kept going from there. But I mean, when you're born with a voice where you sound like, you know, a hybrid of like a grandma and a little boy, like, you don't really need to be inspired. This is just sort of something you kind of get to slip into, and yeah, I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, I never intended to be a voice actor. I didn't really intend to be an actor. I kind of was late getting into 9th grade, and they told me that was the only elective left. And like, here I am.
That's awesome. It's meant to, your whole life is just meant to happen kind of thing.
Well, that's like, acting is all about giving into an impulse and a desire anyway. So, yeah. But now that I'm doing it professionally, I'm becoming inspired to become a voice actor. I'm starting to learn how to do it.
Yeah, I've been acting since I was a kiddo, but I never knew that voice acting was a lucrative career choice. Like, I knew that cartoons didn't speak for themselves, obviously, but I never thought that, oh, those people get paid, and that's a job that you can do. And I went all through college not ever thinking that that was an option. And then somebody told me, like, hey, I'm doing this thing, you should come audition, and that's how I got into voice acting. So now I go back and do classes with high school students, where I talk to them about, hey, like, there's another option. You can do stage, you can do film, you can do voiceover. And in voiceover, there's so many different options, too. Like, you can do animation, you can do commercial, you can do this. So, yeah, I think most of us, and especially when you have a voice that's distinct as ours, it kind of finds you more than you find it.
Well, I'm curious, Monica, what was the first thing that you really, like the first voiceover that you really identified with? you talking about like watching cartoons or whether it was
Yeah.
or whatever it was?
It wasn't until, I think it was The Simpsons. When The Simpsons came around and I was like, wait a minute, I know who Hank Azaria is. I love him. I think he's a great actor. Oh my gosh, he's doing this animated thing. Let me check this out. Oh wow. Hank Azaria is an actor that I admire, and now he's doing this. Maybe I could do that. So it was very strange. And then once I found it, I'm sure that this is the same for you, once I found it, it was like, this is what I want to do with my life. And now I can't imagine doing anything else. You know?
I remember hearing Joan Rivers in Spaceball. That's that lady. Okay.
I don't think I ever considered a possibility because I didn't. Like, I thought that to be a voice actor, you have to put on character voices.
Right.
And that's like one of the last things you have to learn how to do,
Yeah.
if you ever have to do it. But Ian Sinclair got me here somehow. I was doing a Titus Andronicus, and he and I were in it, and he was like, "Come do this," and then I did.
So nice.
Thank you so much.
Hey, how are you guys doing today?
Good, you?
I'm doing great. First off, I love Monty from My Private Mermaid, and Kaki's amazing. My question to you is, how did you guys get started? So, like, what were the steps you took to be able to become a voice actor?
Theater! Yeah, and when I was in high school and I started to get into it, when I was walking in between classes, I was studying my monologue. When I came home, I would go on walks and pace my monologue. I would do my monologues as a little boy, and an old man, and a girl, and a sushi chef. Just in my head, on my own, do it. When I went to college, I was there as an electrical engineer, and then started a theater group with my friends, and then we just put on plays and asked people to come see them. And then eventually, after like 10 years of passionately doing that for no money at all, someone was like, "Hey, I'll pay you to do it."
For me, it was J.P. Douglas, who's another voice actor. He plays Spirit and Dragon Ball Super and a whole bunch of other stuff. Just a really great guy. But he and I were doing Cymbeline together, actually, Shakespeare. And
Who were you playing?
I was Imogen.
Oh, Imogen.
So, but we were talking about, you know, he was like, "Hey, I'm doing a scene here in town," and we were in Houston. And I'm like, "I thought all that stuff was done out in LA." He's like, "No, it's here in town, and you should audition because it's all about like kids saving the world. You sound like a child." I'm like, "Thank you." I think. So I went and auditioned, thinking, and I almost skipped the audition because I've never done anything like that, and I was scared. Thank God I didn't, you know. But I went to the audition, and I thought, okay, this will be cool, so I don't have to meet people from college. And here we are 20 years later. Crazy. Thank you.
So, this question is for Austin. What is your favorite 1A student?
I like you.
Okay, my favorite 1A.
Do you want me to go through the actors? Will that help you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you've got Justin Briner, who plays Old Deku. You've got Clifford Chapin, who plays Bakio. Me, of course, as Sue Osley. You've got Colleen Clinkenbeard as Momo Yao, I can't read her name. Lucy Christian as Ochako, the Anthony Gravito, from Gravito. And then you've got Kyle Phillips as Kaminari, the guy that has electrical powers, but every time he uses them, it freaks him out.
That's the one.
Okay.
Kyle Phillips.
Kaminari.
Every time I see that dude in the hallway, because I gained like 20 pounds like a while ago, and he was like, "Hey, you look like you've been working out." And I was like, "No, it's just a perfect layer of fat. It looks like muscle." And now every time I see him, he's just like, he just grabs my arm and he's like, "Hey, you look like you're getting in shape." I hate that guy.
Oh my gosh, there he is! Hi, Kyle. That's the basic Kaminari.
Thank you guys so much.
Do you do that often, like clear those store whole things? I feel like that was like I could learn a lot from you.
Well, I feel like because My Hero, when it first came out, nobody watched it. And we kept going, "Guys, it's so good, you should totally watch it." And then the second season came around and everybody watched it, but my colleagues had not caught up. So I was like, "Here, let me give you some slow down so that so I have been doing it for a little while. Close enough. The actors. Who's the actors? Hello.
Hello there. My question is for Monica. I know that you voice Bulma in Zenkai and Super, and she's kind of a genius, and she flies all sorts of these vehicles and jets and even battles inside them. So I was wondering, like, if you got your chance to battle a jet, what would your reaction be?
If I got my chance to power a jet?
To battle in a jet.
Oh, like me personally? Oh. My first instinct would be to be concerned about humanity. Because I know that if I got a jet and I somehow miraculously had the power to fly it and understand how that works, I would go everywhere. Like, I wouldn't fight anyone. I'd be like, oh, sweet, I'm gonna go to, like, Tuscany for lunch, and then I'm gonna go to a party in a glacier over here in Iceland. You know what I mean? So I don't think I'd get very much fighting done. I will say, though, on the new, one of the phone game, the Dragon Ball phone game, I got really excited because Bulma is in the game, and she fights. Y'all, I was so excited that they even had like the Japanese folks on the line, and it was 4 o'clock in the morning for them, and they had to wake up for my session to like be a part of it. And the whole time I was like, I get to fight? Yes! What? And they kept like, what? Like, I want to fight you guys. They were like laughing how excited I was. And the creators even put a little trick in there. If Vegeta and Bulma fight, Bulma always is stronger. And then if Chi-Chi and Goku fight, Chi-Chi's always stronger. So I hope someday...
Well, they have to have their moments, right?
Right! You gotta let the ladies have their moments every once in a while and put the guys in their place, especially those two. Thank you.
Can I come to that glacier party?
Yeah! It's a real thing. Stephanie Shea went. And it's like you go to a party inside a glacier in Iceland, and they like take you out on snowmobiles out, and it's like there's a DJ, and yeah, it's crazy. I want to go.
That could be us.
Glacier party!
It is not. That does concern me a little, because like aren't glaciers dying?
I don't know. Maybe they just have one glacier that they're like, that's where the party is.
This is the designated party glacier.
My question is just a simple one. How do you feel when you get these roles that you play and trying them out and seeing the reaction of fans? How do you react to it? Like for example, Amethyst, Bulma. I'm sorry, I forgot you have a lot of players. It's okay. But my real academia, when you play these characters and see how they work and see the reaction of fans, how do you feel when they see these characters?
I think that I mean, for me anyway, I know that it's a special moment. Like, I nerd out about the process. I nerd out about my process as an actor. I nerd out about my character. I want to know every single little detail about them. So I put a lot of myself in that character and just hope that you guys can feel that, you know, all the love and time and effort that's gone into it. So when people come up or when people cosplay as my characters, for me, that's like a huge feeling. Because like when you're on stage and you work really hard for weeks and weeks and weeks, at the end you get to take a bow, right? And everybody goes, yay, good job. Well, with voice acting, we don't do that because, you know, we record and it's out into the ether. So to hear you guys come back, that's the only time we know that we're doing it right. Does that make sense? So it's huge. I think it's a really special moment. And also we get to geek out with you guys over things that, you know, my significant other, I love him to death, but he does not know all the intricacies of studio, you know? But you guys will, and so we can geek out together about it, and that's a special thing too.
Yeah. At first, there was fear because when I first started getting cast in roles, I made the mistake of like reading YouTube comments. I should never do that. And people didn't know who I was, so they were really
silence, and also be comfortable telling the voice inside of you that's like, oh man, why didn't I get that? Like, am I not good enough? you have to be comfortable with telling that voice to just like shut it. Yeah.
And you'd be okay with eating really cheap food.
Yeah.
And like, I got my foot in the door in 2008 at Funimation Studios, and I've only been invited to cons for about 4 years now. There was like a good 6 years where I was working there, but barely.
Yeah. Dude, I was like before Steven Universe hit, so I had done Barney and then there was a break. Right before I heard about Steven Universe, I was like on Craigslist looking at gigs, the gigs section. That's like, you know what I mean? And then like one break could like just boost you up and help out. So.
Speaking of Amethyst, I actually wanted to thank you. Amethyst's arc with dealing with her trauma over how she was created actually helped me deal with the trauma of being adopted as a baby.
Adoptees Unite!
A lot of loss I'd had over that with losing my culture, so thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. I don't know if you know this, but so for the rest of you, I am adopted, and actually when the storyline of Amethyst going back to Homeworld to find her Famethist, that was happening like in parallel with my real life when I was going back to Korea to search for my birth family. So I feel very, very close to that plot line. But yeah, thank you so much.
This is the best panel ever.
Hey.
Hi.
Do you have a baby Bjorn with the?
Yes, I have. I've got a flirty heart here.
Oh,
okay.
that's
This
amazing.
was more for Monica, and I guess you two could answer to. Has having that sort of voice been a detriment to you in some way? Like you, for instance, like you call out to order a pizza and they don't believe you're an adult.
That hasn't happened. Usually it would get me out of, like, back in the day when we had these things called landlines. And you didn't know who was calling. It would get me out of solicitor calls because they'd call and be like, you know, I'd say, hello, and then be like, hey, may I speak to your mom or dad? Because that happens to me all the time. And I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, my mom and dad aren't home right now, but I am. You wanna talk to me? Let's play. And I would just like sit there and talk to them for, one guy I kept on the phone for like an hour, and then he was gonna call the police, and I had to tell him what was up, and then he cursed me out. I'm like, dude, you just got a free hour pay. Come on. Just for hanging out and talking to a kid. He was a little upset. But yeah, it was a detriment when I started in actual like theater once I got out of school, because I realized like if I want to play Lady Macbeth, you know, going out, damn spot is not very convincing.
So I had to learn how to use this voice, and this became my theater voice, which is hard to do. It takes a lot of breath support, but then I can play Lady Macbeth and say, out, damn spot, and people go, yeah.
So I had no idea when I went into voice acting that I had pretty much trained myself to be a voice actor, because I had been using this voice for theater and this voice in my real life. So now I've got this crazy range, and people are like, how did you do that? I'm like, But it's fun coming to cons because everybody's like, oh my god, I love your voice. And then I go into the real world and people are like, why does that woman sound like that?
My voice is
awesome.
Completely unremarkable outside of the context of what we're doing right now. In the world at large, it's not something that anyone would need to pay attention to. I don't.
Richness.
I have noticed the more, especially like the last couple of years, because Funimation has just been like, it's now I've been accidentally training every day and exercising, and I'll like, because I've never been a singer, I've always been very, very insecure about my singing, and I catch myself being able to hit notes that I couldn't do before. So that's cool. I used to think I was like tone deaf, and no.
I heard you sing here.
It's my vocal cords.
I think we're gonna go lightning round now.
Okay. Awesome. So we're gonna answer questions as fast as we can if you guys will ask them.
Life is already going so fast.
Hi, this question is for Monica. I always wonder, how did you come up with the general voice that you do for Mayrin?
Mayreen, that came from listening to the Japanese who had kind of the raspy aspect already, but then they decided that they wanted us all to use accents, and so since she was a maid, I thought it'd be fun to do the Cockney accent, which we don't do very often anymore. And then from there it just became, I like to take everything and go to 10, and then have my director pull me back. I went to 10 and they never pulled me back.
Oh man, future autobiography titles.
Two questions. One's for Michaela. Who is your favorite amethyst fusion? And then the other one is like my daughter. She's Dr. Stein. She learned Hungarian to be in the play Chicago. Did you guys ever learn a different language for any of your roles?
Wow.
Wow. Good job. That's awesome.
Congrats.
Go ahead.
Oh, my favorite fusion, Avi, smoky quartz. And actual like language for a role, but I like try to listen to a lot of like Korean and Japanese and like different Chinese dialect videos just to help me with accents. But
Her birth father was adopted from South Korea as well too.
Oh,
So
same.
She's still trying to learn her here.
heck yeah, oh yeah, Chogumyo.
Hi, this is a question for Monica.
Yeah.
What's your favorite line from Young on the Dawn?
Not any of the lines in the honey scene. If you've seen Yona of the Dawn, there's a very awkward scene, and it's really interesting because it's Chris Sabat again. I don't know how he and I get cast opposite each other all the time because he's like way down here and I can't think of a particular line. I just love that show because, again, a very strong woman. She starts out in the beginning and she's a pretentious little princess you want to slap, and then as she goes through it, she becomes this strong, powerful woman, and I really hope we get to see more of it.
Thank you.
I don't.
Hello. Hi. I got a question for Austin.
Yay.
So I love all the roles you play,
Thank
Kaneki, Shu, etc. But for this role, how do you view the role of Ayumu? How do you view that? Are you embarrassed when you play him?
No. That was my first leading role. Ayumu is a character from a show called Is This a Zombie? Before the show even starts, he is killed by a serial killer and brought back to life by a necromancer from Hades who looks like a 13-year-old girl. Just to set the background, right?
Cool.
Now he's hanging out in a cemetery in the first episode, and an alien magical garment girl lands on him, and her clothes are flung onto him, and she's left nude, and he's granted her power, and now he is an immortal zombie that has all of the powers of a magical garment girl, and when he calls the magical chant, he dons a pink dress, and the cuter he gets, the more powerful he becomes. Now, embarrassing-wise, it was my first leading role. I didn't really understand how to do it. There's a lot of narration. There was a lot of like off-mouth lines, and I was so nervous. I was like, wait, I get to paste the words myself? That was me learning how to be an actor. I love that show, and man, if they came back with a season 3 like they set up, that would make me tickled pink.
Last question.
Thank you, and I love everyone that knows I am.
Yes, hello. I'm an upcoming voice actor. I wanted to know what college route I should go on and what are the necessary practice procedures I should go about.
Wait, can you
You've
say
got
that
a great
again?
voice.
I'm an upcoming voice actor. I just want to know what college route I should go on.
I mean, I know for me, like, I was a theater major, and I took voice classes, like voice for the actor and stuff. I would say that now you might want to, I know a lot of people go into the communication side of things too, because you get a lot of mic technique from like being on camera and, you know, things like that. So I would suggest like whatever you feel, you know, if you feel inclined to do theater, great. If you feel inclined to do the other, great. But it's more about the experience.
I mean, I went into college specifically not to pursue acting. I wanted to have an education to fall back on, just in case. I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna work out. So I studied international studies. But you can always, if you decide to do something like that, you can take classes outside of school. I mean, there are amazing teachers all over, so.
I'm terrible at giving advice because I went to UTD on a full academic scholarship as an electrical engineer because I got a letter in the mail from Texas that said, hey, do you want to come to UTD and be an electrical engineer? And then like 3 years into it, I was like, oh, I don't. so getting into the industry is tricky, but man, Joe knows what I'm about to talk about. Shakespeare and Company in Lenox, Massachusetts. I did a month-long intensive there, and that is what started me on the path to learning how to become an actor. And I did that when I was like 24, after having been in multiple professional productions. But there's a lot of groovy stuff there. It's not just about Shakespeare, it's about a lot of this stuff that's gonna help.
We're at time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. This is awesome.
Check your schedules for all the great talent that's coming up. Monica has her Q&A today as well, and we're going to an autograph session in the exhibit hall next.
Thanks, you guys.
I should never do that. And people didn't know who I was, so they were really confused why Josh really wasn't doing all these parts. Like, who are you? Please give us Josh. But once I got over myself, and now it's nothing but amazing, life-changing joy, and I cannot emphasize that enough. Especially like I've gotten the opportunity to play some incredibly characters who really get to deal with the human condition. I mean, I love shows like My Hero Academia, and it's so fun being a superhero. But also, like something like Tokyo Ghoul, when a person comes up and they're cosplaying that character. There's an immediate understanding when we look in each other's eyes of a shared human experience that it means a lot. And that ends up being a lot of the conversations that I have. And now I go everywhere and I talk to people about it, and there's at least one or two people I'll find, and we'll be like, yeah, that moment, I feel what you feel. I just want to go listen to Origin of Love from Hedwig and the Angry Inch right now. So yeah, it's amazing.
I feel the same way. I'm just as much of a fan of Steven Universe as I am, just a small part of it. So to be able to talk with people about the upcoming movie, except I'm not really talking about it because I'm not allowed to talk about it, but just talking about how exciting it is, yeah. I see so much cosplay out there, and it's always really special to see how much effort people put into it. And yeah, you guys are all such artists. Like, I'm looking at, do you approve of a lot of these hairstyles here? Like,
Oh yeah, you know what, that's the one thing I will say, all of you cosplayers are freaking phenomenal, because when I started going to cons, cosplay was a little questionable. In fact, I used to do panels way back in the day about makeup and wig design for cosplay, because you'd have these people that would do these really great costumes, but then they wouldn't wear any makeup and they wouldn't have a wig, and you're like, oh, but you're so close.
Yeah.
Let me teach you how to do wigs and stuff. But now, like, I'm amazed, because you walk through, like, even just looking out here, it's like there's freaking anime characters in the audience, like, looking me in the face, because you guys are so good at this stuff. I mean, it's intimidating sometimes, because you're like, wow, or you're so close to a walking version of that character, I don't even know how to respond to you.
And I feel like with anime and a lot of Steven Universe, you guys are committed. Like, there's so much full body paint going on. So thank you.
And also, I want to mention, it's great that you guys are all here. Monica, favorite voice actor from Soul Eater, Tsubaki.
Thank you.
Of course, Amethyst. As soon as I knew you were going to be here, I was super excited. Thank you.
Thank you.
You'll know me one day.
You know what, Sean? I mean, Austin.
You'll leave today. You'll Google me. And
I was trying to reassure you and say that you're enough, and I was like, Brandon, what's your name again?
I am every woman inside of me.
I have a question for all of you. Have you ever had a fandom's views on one of your characters influence your views on that character?
I've definitely had the fairy tale fandom's view of Meraxis change my ideas on that. The shipping of Mira Jane and Loxus, which at first I was like, that's so weird. Why would they ship those two together? Like, they never even talk to one another. But I think that also that fandom also might have pushed Hiro Mashima in that direction. Because then when we got to the Grand Magic Games, all of a sudden Mira Jane and Loxus are always right next to each other, and she's by his bedside. I'm like, oh, he heard you guys. We heard you loud and clear. So that was the one time where, because at first I was like, no, I think Mary Jane and Freed would be cool. And then I realized that Freed just wants Loxus, so why not just cut that guy out? You know, just happened again.
You know what's weird? Like,
It's weird. It's weird.
okay, right, so when you're doing theater, you spend weeks and weeks preparing for this event, and then the event happens. And like, that's the whole cycle. But when I come into the booth, sometimes I get cast in a new show that I've never heard of, and now I'm the lead, and we just have to do it. And then it's done before I have time to think too much about it. And then I spend a year talking to people about it. So like my opinions about a lot of the characters have changed and definitely been influenced by fans. And all of that happened after the performance was over.
I guess for me specifically to Amethyst, I know a lot of I hear a lot at conventions like, oh, you're so similar to your character. I'm like, oh, does that mean I just eat garbage all the time and like moldy burritos? Thank you, airport sushi. But I think that certainly influenced, what I present. I mean, I'm always myself, but I've definitely started saying dude more since doing this character. But I'm a people pleaser. I'm just gonna join those dudes.
Thank you.
Hi. I had a question around I've done a lot of character creation, I got voices down, I made stories about everything, so voice acting to me is I love it. However though, would it be a better idea to also do a one-band kind of thing and go for sound design to probably help out demos?
What's your end goal?
My end goal is to get into the industry and not only just do sound design, but also to do voice acting. Because ever since I was a kid, I always had a massive passion for it.
This is a better show.
I will tell you that if you're into sound design and then that's something that you also want to pursue, I would suggest it, if only for the reason that helping other people with their demos will help teach you what to do and what not to do. I still take beginning acting classes at least once a year, not because I feel like I need to take a beginning acting class, but because I learn more from the people in that class and watching them learn about acting than I do from the person teaching usually. So in that respect, I think it would be a good choice.
Yeah, I mean, and if I have a friend who is a sound designer, I would pay him money to help me get a demo done.
I think no matter what, just make sure you, hone all your skills across the board. And I mean, it seems like you're doing that and just keep creating. Maybe if you have all the elements, you have the voices, you can collab with someone, get the character design in there, you can do the sound design. Maybe throw up some shorts on YouTube or, just create.
Yeah. Never underestimate how important it is to finish a project.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, thank you. Bakugo's the greatest.
No, he's not.
I'm a bit of an improv nerd, and I was wondering how improv plays into your voice acting.
Yes, and?
I was in an improv troupe for years with Amanda Wynn Lee, Allison Keith, Chris Ayers. We did improv in Houston for a very long time. And I tell aspiring voice actors, especially if they want to get into animation and stuff, that improv is a huge skill that you have to have. Because today with the simul-dubs that we do, I'll bounce from studio to studio not knowing what I'm doing. So I'll go into one booth and they'll be like, okay, now you're a grandma and your grandchild is dying, go. Then you go into the next booth and it's like, okay, now you're a puppy dog that's in love with this other puppy dog, go. Okay, now you're a child who's screaming for their parents. Okay, now you're this, so you have to be able to and you don't get any time, you get to watch it and then you do it. So you don't have a lot of time to sit there and go, okay, now tell me about this character. What's my motivation? What's going on? So you have to be able to improv.
Right. Or you're like a guy and he just got turned into a mound of fleshy teeth.
Yeah.
So he's covered in mouths now and all those mouths are screaming in pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's hundreds of characters too. There's the few that you hear me do, but then there's a buttload that you have no idea. Because it's just that one guy. I'm scared of improv, and I might go take more classes soon.
I mean, for me, improv is, I've taken just like low-level classes at UCB and Groundlings, and I'm more of like a sketch comedy performer, but improv is very helpful in the booth, and especially for auditioning, just throwing in little lines here and there for animation. Like all the bigger studios want funny people in the room, and they want people who are enjoyable to work with. And if you can, I mean, you know, you're not putting on a comedy show, but if you can make them laugh a little bit with just like a throwaway, it's just like they're gonna remember you that much more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had a director tell me one time, he said anytime I audition someone for the first time, I'm not even that concerned if they're right for the character. I'm trying to figure out if I want to spend 8 hours in a room with them.
Yeah. That's true too. So wear deodorant as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was just wondering how you did for Monica Rail, how it was to do Tomoko for Watamote.
Oh my gosh, I love her! Has anybody seen Watamote? Oh, good, there's quite a few of you. So here's something that I don't always tell folks. Growing up, I had severe social anxiety. I was a ballerina and I had no problem getting on stage, but like when my cousins would come talk to me, I would turn red and like freak out and like hide in the corner. Like my cousins, my family. So for me, Tomoko was huge because it's like, she's so much more adventurous in her own mind than I could ever be. But it was something kind of cathartic for me, having been, you know, having dealt with social anxiety as a child, being able to create this character that also deals with it. And
I don't have really any social anxiety, but I do have kind of regular anxiety and how I'm trying to my best.
good for you. That's what I tell people. That show can be kind of cringy because there are some moments where you're like, why did she do that?
Yeah, it's
but at the same time,
like I remember this one time where she accidentally got a pant where she like in school and she was like freaking out in the bathroom, just ripping out all of. I was like, oh my god.
She makes some interesting choices. But I will say that if you guys like, that's one of my favorite shows that I've ever worked on. If you guys haven't seen Watamote, it really is a really fun little show. Thank you so much. Hello.
Michaela, I love you, but my question is for Austin and Monica.
Yeah!
So, what would be Manama and Suyu's reaction to Manama being transferred to Class 1A?
I want you to think about it like this, right? Love and hate are closer to each other than apathy. Things would get steamy. I actually don't know yet.
I think for Suyu, she would probably, like all of Class 1A, be a little upset by it, but at the same time, can we trade Bakugo? Like, because, you know, if I'm gonna get one jerk, I might as well get rid of the other one, you know? I don't know, I think that it would be interesting if something like that were to happen.
I've never gotten this many My Hero questions before in my life.
Study up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna answer all these questions.
Whoa! Hello.
I'll take Schwartz for 500.
So my question for you guys is, who were some of your favorite roles in the past, and what are some of your favorite lines from those roles?
Lines are hard, man. Because I only do them once.
What, you're a one-take wonder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've tried voice acting, that's not true.
Okay, it's not true.
There's so many. I'm trying to think of ones that are okay to say in a family-friendly panel.
They're the Schwartz.
I've loved for many characters that I've done. I love Karma from Assassination Classroom, mostly because of my favorite line of his, which is, I've always wanted to kill myself a teacher. And that's how he's introduced to the show. What's also funny is that script was adapted in Texas and we had too many syllables. Most people probably in other states don't say, I want to kill myself something. And And if you look in the manga, it says, I've always wanted to kill a teacher. I've always wanted to kill myself a teacher.
It's very Matthew McConaughey.
That's you?
Yeah.
Sick hair, man.
I know.
The one line that I can think of that is one of my all-time favorites is a Bulma line from Battle of Gods, and it's actually one that I improvised. So, you know when Beerus and Whis come down and Vegeta's trying to cover up, and he's like, Bulma, these are my friends. And she's a little drunky, and so she turns around to everybody at the party and she goes, hey, you guys, Vegeta has friends.
That's awesome.
And I remember I had so much fun because Chris Sabat was directing me, and so I got to say it right to him. He was like,
well, crap, now I'm gonna have to keep that.
that's probably my favorite.
Awesome. I do have one more, and it's the Tokyo Ghoul line, of course. And I like to say this before every meal.
Oh, God.
You'll get what's coming to you when I eat you instead. Then I just pick up that burger.
It sounds like Amethyst, something Amethyst would say. I don't know. Amethyst has so many lines, but I feel like one of my favorites is at any time she addresses Steven. She's like, ugh, sup, Steven. And guys, little known fact, Todd Habercorn was Mr. Knickerbocker in the Barney and Friends series. So we overlap, so just want to mention that because he's not here and just blow him up a little. So next time you see him, just call him Mr. Knickerbocker. I'm waiting for that slide to appear.
It's out there. I think it's on YouTube. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
This question's for all of you. What's been the most memorable moment of your voice acting journey? Oh, I also wanted to say this is my first con.
Well, hopefully we won't scare you off.
You're right, the thing is too, it's Saturday afternoon.
Be nice to her.
I try to live in the present, so the most memorable moment for me and my journey is right now.
I'm feeling that.
I think I had a weird moment. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you about my little fangirl story. So when I was growing up, my favorite movie was Lost Boys, right? Love me some hot, sexy vampires. So that was my favorite movie. So I went to Rhode Island Comic-Con this year, and the con agent that I'm with does like a dinner where he invites like everybody that's with it. Yeah, exactly. Everybody who's with that agent. So I go to this dinner thinking, oh, it's gonna be me and Brittany Karbowski and a couple other people. Kiefer Sutherland and Jason Patrick walk in, and I about pooped my pants. Because I was like not expecting the two leads of Lost Boys to just walk in and start having dinner with us. And at one point I pulled Kiefer Sutherland aside and I was like, I just wanted to say, I think you're a brilliant actor. I absolutely loved Lost Boys. He's like, that's why I became an actor. And he's like, you became an actor because of Lost Boys? Yeah. But that was a weird moment just because, like, you know, I have so many people coming to me and like, oh my God, this. So in that one instant, I knew how everybody felt because I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't been starstruck by anybody, but this is the first time I was like, oh no, Mr. Sutherland, you're pretty.
I like where this is going. Yeah, because there are so many moments in this weird journey that's been happening lately. So many amazing moments that I want to point to. But you know, if life were only moments, then you never know you had one.
Did you read that on an embroidered pillow?
That's from Into the Woods, right?
I was a baker.
Into the Woods. Sorry, it's another play. But it's true. So it's hard to pick one, but now I have one that I have to pick because we're going to do the celebrity thing.
Sorry.
And that is weird, man. I had a moment at SuperCon in Miami where I didn't approach Dan Harmon. And I think about it every day.
Oh no!
Yeah, that I didn't have the courage to do that. It's a hard thing to do, and it's impressive. At that same convention, Like 2 years later, Lori Petty mouth kissed me violently on a Sunday morning.
Like, why?
I think she wanted me to get out of the way so she could get paid.
She likes to just do things.
Yeah.
Tank girl. Oh yeah.
Tank girl. Yeah.
I ran into, now that we're talking about Lori Petty, I live in Venice, California. It's like part of LA. And she like lives around there. And when I first moved to LA, I saw her there and she like pulls, she thought my friend was like so hot. So we're like sitting at this table and she like shoves a phone up to our ear and it's like David Allen Greer. And we're just like, what's happening right now? And it's like, she's talking about like, she's so scattered. And then the next day at the Bank of America, I went to the ATM and there was already a card in there and I ejected and whose card is it but Lori Petty.
That's weird! What is happening? I'm telling you, all weekend, man!
But I didn't get a violent mouth kiss, so, you know.
I make it sound worse than it is. I was sitting there, I was about to get paid out. She's right behind me. She's got on these rose-colored glasses.
Like literally.
Yes, rose-tinted glasses. She's looking at me. I look up and I was like, how's it going? And she's like, I want to punch you in the face right now. And I was like, okay. And then she leaned in and I was like, this is happening. And it was a gentle and beautiful and also please get out of my way kiss. Tank Girl was a good movie. And so, what's that movie with Keanu Reeves?
Point Break.
God, that's a good movie. No, I've seen Point Break, yeah. Remember, look at her. Oh, goodness. It's a good movie, I mean.
Hello.
Hi, sorry, thank you for keeping us on track.
So I just wondered, like, when you were younger, did like any of you like watch anime? Like, did that help you inspire to become like a voice actor for anime?
I think that, I mean, I know I watched anime, I just didn't know it was anime.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, like, I watched Speed Racer, I watched Voltron, I watched Thundercats. I had no idea that in fact, my first crush was on the not the Red Lion, but Keith, I guess, who drove the Red Lion in Voltron. First crush. Anime. So I didn't know, though, at the time that it was anime, and it wasn't until my little brother started getting into anime that I realized, oh, this is from Japan, this is different. And then we would go visit my family in Spain, and my brother doesn't speak Spanish as well as I do, so I'd have to translate for him every morning, and one of the shows that was on television was Las Bolas de Dragón. And I was like, if I had known then that that was going to be my life in 30 years, no idea.
Oh, I'm sorry to admit, I didn't watch a ton of cartoons when I was little, like a little bit of Rugrats and Dugs, but definitely no anime. I watched like weird, I don't know, I watched weird
How
shows.
dare you? So first it was VHS tapes from Blockbuster that my dad would grab of really obscure, very inappropriately adult-oriented like anime. And I mean that more on the violent than the sex side. But yeah, like a lot of really rated R stuff. Just really disturbing images. And then there was some Miyazaki stuff happening, and that was great. Studio Ghibli was awesome. And then I hit my teenage years, and Toonami shows up, and now I know what Dragon Ball is, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not going to bed. This is awesome. I never got into, like, for some reason, I really didn't like Inuyasha, but I went through the whole Dragon Ball thing. I was there. I'm sorry. I'll give it another shot. Somewhere along there was Fully Cooley. So that show is very much my jazz. But I didn't know that it was a job that people did. And I think that I benefited from the fact that I wasn't paying attention to that, because if I was closer to it and had spent more time trying to do this on purpose, I probably would have screwed it up. Like, I think I'm more helpful being left in the dark. And I think there's directors that would agree to that.
Good question.
Thank you.
10 minutes. Let us know when we need to do a lightning round. Okay. Hi.
Alright. This question's for all three of you. How did you guys get into voice acting?
I won a raffle.
I scratched a scratcher.
It's a monkey paw situation. There's something really bad that's gonna happen.
I mean, it was an accident for me. Like, it was literally somebody going, you should do this thing, and me auditioning going, okay. I think it's hard, though, now, because people come up and ask me, how do I become a voice actor? And I have to tell them, like, I'm sorry, I don't know anymore. Because I've been doing it for such a long time, I don't know what the protocol is now with, like, all of the new digital media and all this stuff. And back then, it was really easy to get into anime, because when I started, it was literally like, do we know any actors? Can we call them? Are you an actor? Do you want to be in the show? And it's like, oh, okay, sure. Whereas now, there's a